Hey, it's Reese from Threes to Wound here, and I'm just like you. Just like you! Just an average gamer trying to get my head around the new version of Kill Team, so let's jump in and have a bit of a look. For me, I was a little bit late getting back into the hobby. I played it when I was younger, and then I came back, and when came to getting some models on the table, I was like, oh geez, Warhammer's pretty intimidating. So I decided to jump into Kill Team 20, well, now known as 2018, or we'll call it OG Kill Team because I'm a cool guy. And just as I finally got my head around it with things like elites, we had commanders, arena, rogue trader, pariah, all those things, just as it all finally started to click and make sense, there's a click again, it was gone. Now, for some people, that was a bad thing. You know, the system worked, the game played well, so why should we change? It's scary, it sucks. Effectively, the old version was, you know, Warhammer 40k light. It was like just a shadow of its daddy game. And that's not a bad thing. It made it really approachable to set yourself up so you didn't have to spend $9,000 on new models just to get involved. I did that anyway, but that wasn't Kill Team's fault. And this was definitely a good thing. I mean, it just meant it was a bit of a gateway drug into getting into the full-blown Warhammer 40k. And for someone like me, it helped prepare me for that mental onslaught. I mean, as a Genestealer cult player, insert booze here, it helped me really lessen that cognitive load as I was trying to learn a whole new game or having to learn 2 new systems. But fundamentally, did Kill Team 2018 feel like that excellent behind-the-scenes action film, spec ops, race against the clock narrative thriller that we wanted? Well, not really. I mean, a lot of it by the end was just trying to see how many plasma guns you could fit into a list, a bit of cheese spamming going on, all those things. For some people, that's great, and there's actually nothing wrong if that's how you like to play. But for me, when I love the narrative and I want to see some different kind of characters, and I guess really get attached to the operatives in my kill team, we needed something a bit different. So let's jump into the new version and have a bit of a look about, well, did it do that? Now, little disclaimer here, I'm not an expert in the game. I'm still really new at getting back into it. So please, if you don't agree with me, that's awesome, but just don't aim for the face or the groin when you're throwing your hate my way. As said, I'm very sensitive and I'll take that personally. But I would love to hear all your comments below about what you really like and what you don't and what you're looking forward to as well. Number 1, alternating activations. For me, this is huge. The alternating activations of your operatives, where basically instead of waiting for one person to use their whole team and you've just got to sit there and watch it, while that may work on bigger scale games like 40k, in, I guess, a kill team situation, it really slowed the pace down. And for one person, you end up spectating for a lot of the time and you're having to plan and wait and see how it all plays out before you even get to react. With the alternating activations, it's streamlined and you've really got to agonize over those little decisions. Do I want to, you know, activate my banner first so I'm going to buff my troops? Is it important that I get to that objective before my opponent does? Can I, you know, make sure I shoot that guy who's about to charge me? Yes, all those things matter, and by making it more like battle chess, it's a huge positive. I really dig it. Number 2 is the 4 turning points. I think this is a really nice way to tighten the game up a little bit. It really helps to make the game length feel a bit shorter, which is meant to be one of the big benefits of it over its bigger daddy game. And of course, we want to make sure that, you know, we still can plan depending on your kill team, you know, your fire teams that you've got assembled. Are you short game, mid game, or long game playing, and knowing that you've only got 4 you know, turning points to take maximum advantage of that and how you play it out really helps each strategy feel unique to the kill team or the fire team that you're using. So, you know, if you're waiting for that long game, are you a tough team that's just going to sit at the back of the board at the start and advance out at the end and grab those objectives? Are you trying to score points early? Well, you know you've got to get out there and turning point 1 or 2 before the tide starts to turn against you. So I think this is a really clever way to speed the game up and also give you some clear parameters in terms of what your mission tactics and your plans are. Number 3, operative states. Now, this is a huge one for someone who plays Genestealer Cult. Let me tell you, being able to hide and like actually hide when your soldiers are wearing wet t-shirts for armor, it makes your game a lot easier. Sexier, I might add, with the wet t-shirts. But it also means you can actually stay alive for a little bit longer. And it really plays into that strategy for all the different types of teams. You've got to make sure you pick the right moment to sneak. You've got to make sure you change that activation at the right time before heading back to this, the shadows. That sort of stuff's really, really cool. And or even if it's for other teams, not having to hide. Death Guard, and those tougher teams, Custodes, they feel like they don't have to take advantage of that. And that's really cool because that's thematic, It would be very weird if we saw, Death Guard sneaking around all the time. I love that they sit there and just be like, shoot me, it's the best. I love it. It's cool, they're Death Guard. The other thing this helps with is it really makes those decisions punishing. If you get them wrong, there's real consequences. If you put an operative in the wrong, state at the wrong time, you're exposing them. That can turn a game. If your opponent's smart, it opens up for flanking and using, the vantage point system really, really well. So there's a lot of benefits to be tied in with, using the operative states correctly. Now, the things I'm not as keen on. Number one, line of sight and cover. Now, it's very easy to be negative about this because, well, it's different. And again, as we said before, different, change, those things are scary. It's not that I don't understand why they do it. It's very thematic, and once you get your head around it, it ties into the game beautifully. And again, it helps to add to that experience of, Spec Ops, sneaking, taking advantage of all those bits and pieces, using cover, scrambling, jumping, all those different benefits and abilities you can use are really, really good. The issue I probably have is for a lot of people, and especially a new player like myself, it can be very daunting when you're talking about having to use natural line of sight, so using your character's head to see a model, but then you've obviously got to worry about your firing lines. Feels like two systems working together, but also sometimes a little bit counterintuitive when you also have to add in things like how close are they to terrain, like 2 inches behind. It's very hard for a new punter to get involved. So I found myself having to watch a lot of videos and explainers, and that's great. Those are out there, and some people have really helped to make it easier. Now I've got my head around it. It's fantastic. But for a new player, I feel like GW probably could have put a little bit more work and a few more examples in that core rulebook to really help, I guess, sum up more situations, because it's very rarely as simple as Operative A can see Operative B, or, especially when you were trying to hide and trying to use that cover. A lot of the biggest arguments or, slight disagreements I've had with my opponents, who are still friends luckily, has been based around that, has been about, oh, but I've hidden that guy. Can you see him? Are you sure? I think I can see his base. And having to use laser pointers and things like that, although it looks cool, isn't always ideal for making sure that it's the best and most intuitive and fun way to play the game. Number two, the Compendium. Yeah. Now, this is another negative. It's also a little bit of a positive. The Compendium does a fantastic job of making sure that everyone, no matter what faction or race you play, you can play the base game straight away, which is really, really cool. There would have been absolute anarchy if we didn't have that. Anarchy! But the issue here is when you've got two fantastic teams like the Krieg, Death Corp, and you've got the Orc Commandos, and they just seem so thematic, and they've got so many cool bits and pieces. They've got models that match, the story. They've got, extra powers and abilities and stratagems and all that stuff. They feel really, really thematic and settled into the game. And then when you compare that to the Compendium guys, they do feel a little bit half-cooked or half-baked. Now, I understand, it's very easy. Disclaimer, please. We know that this is changing. We know new things are coming out. It's coming out through White Dwarf. There's going to be releases every sort of quarter. We're going to see something new, some kind of expansion. And we've already seen the announcement of the first one coming out as well. But it is kind of that thing where you feel like you've been given a las gun and someone else has been given a las cannon. It just doesn't quite feel like it matches up thematically. And also that adds to those restrictions that a lot of people are saying, especially Space Marines, maybe Chaos Space Marine players, where you're really feeling restricted, where it's 5 of one type of certain guy, or 3 or 4 of this one certain unit. That can feel a little restrictive, and you understand why people might be a little bit sad or disappointed by that. We know good changes are coming. I think this is just a short-term problem that we know is going to be fixed in the future. Well, that's it for today's video, guys. This was just a really brief introduction to myself and what we're going to be talking about with these videos with Kill Team in the upcoming weeks. If you did make it to the end, you have my love and admiration. Please understand that's a huge deal that you stuck with me. I'd love to see below. Chuck some comments. Let us know what you want to hear. What do you want to dive into? Do we want to do some factions deep dives? Do we want to do some more talking about what's upcoming, breaking down the rumors, all that sort of stuff? What do you want to know? What would you want to chat to on this channel about Kill Team? And we'll make sure to take that into consideration. We'll try and bring a video out weekly, so make sure you also click subscribe. Ha! Sucked in. You didn't think you were going to get through a YouTube video without a subscribe call out, did you? But seriously, thank you so much for joining me. My name's Reese. This has been Threes to Wound, and we'll see you next time.